All right. So the connections, what I mean by that. So what I was doing is on all the things you are, the first one you got is an F minor, first chord. And these are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you only do 2 chords a bar in that last 2 bars. Actually, the third bar. So you got eight bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. So all the things you are moves by fourths. If you look at the melody, you got, so that's the melody. And so what I was doing is talking about to my students about how you can actually walk the bass line. So if you learn the concept that you have to do when you walk the bass line, usually the four to apply the 4 different approaches. So you got linear, which means scale wise. Basically, you're going stepwise, diatonically through the particular chord change. So that'll be something like. So why is that ringing? So this thing was on there. So that's like basically going stepwise linearly through the chord changes, right? That's one. Another one is to do arpeggios. So that's every other note. So they'd be like. So in that bass line example, I was doing arpeggios. And so sometimes I would invert it, whereas I would start on one of, sometimes I wouldn't start on one or land on one. I would land on 3, 5, or maybe 7, or come down 7, 5, 3, 1. But I'm still dealing with the 4 notes that are a part of the chord, right? So that's 2. Number 1, linear lines. Number 2, arpeggios. And then number 3, enclosures. So enclosures, let's see if we walk in the bass line. So what an enclosure is when you take a note below and above the note that you want to land on. So basically, that's a 2-note enclosure. That's basically 2 notes, 1, 2, and then you land on. Okay, and you got 3-note enclosures, and you can do it from the bottom, and you can also do it from the top, or just depends on how you want to do it. You can do that's a 3-note enclosure. You can do a 4-note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you land on. So it's different combinations or variations of the enclosures that you can use. You probably have to go back, and of course, inside the academy, I've done some lessons where I've went through enclosures more extensively, and I've covered it some on the YouTube channel for the stuff that's free and public, open to the public. So that's the third one, enclosures, and then the fourth one is chromaticism. And I'm gonna show you when I play Iwi how you can really apply this, but I just wanted to show you just from the bottom part of playing the bass. So if you're gonna do some chromaticism with the bass, so so really with the bass line, you could do chromaticism, but it's not this chromaticism would apply more so to the improvising part. But let me see if I can do some chromaticism. Right there. That's chromaticism. So I'm consciously thinking about chromaticism there. So when you do the chromaticism, use it. You're gonna be doing a lot of times enclosures, because those chromatic notes, some of the ones that aren't as strong to land on, would be passing tones to get to the notes that do really sound good over the chord. So let me do this. I'm gonna play the EWI and just kind of show you. Actually, you know what? I can walk the bass line on EWI. So I got Band in the Box pulled up and I got All the Things You Are. And I'm going to show you because I'm a saxophone player, right? That's initially what I started out doing, playing sax. But when I would practice with other horn players back in the day, we would play tunes and one person would play the bass line. We learned the melodies, but one person would play the bass line and then the other was solo. And then when it came time to switch for the next person, for the other person to solo, we would switch. So let me. Now, I'm thinking about specifically, I'm thinking about chromaticism. All right. So I'm walking the bass line, right? So that's kind of linear and chromaticism, what I'm thinking about. So the space in between my movement is stepwise. Okay. Now we're going somewhere. Now let's go to number 2, which was where we do the arpeggios. Now check it out. I'm gonna do some walking bass line. I wish I could get some more volume. Is the volume for the EWI okay? When I walk the bass line, let me know. I'll look back over here and see. Okay, somebody said it sounds good. Let me know how that bass line sound. Oh, look, I got a bassist on here. Watching from Canada. Great. Let me know how does it sound. Can y'all hear the bass? Somebody say, yeah, okay, cool. So check it out. Okay. It was swinging. Okay, good, good. Appreciate it. All right. All right. So going back, I'm gonna play. Now I want y'all to listen. I'm gonna think about the second approach, which is hard arpeggios. Okay, so now the intervals was I had more space in between. I had like thirds in between the movement, right? So we can do the linear, which is more stepwise and chromaticism, using leading tones and using enclosures, and you can also do the arpeggios. So it's really good if you focus on one and then you work with that for a little bit and just train yourself, your ear, and use your mind to think about, okay, I'm only can do arpeggios, and then do another one where I just want to do linear, like closer movement, like this stepwise. And then you can think about doing enclosures. Let's see if I can do something with enclosures. Okay, so I'm specifically thinking about doing enclosures, right? So the thing that's cool about enclosures, you can actually start on a half step below and above, or do something that's going to take you to the root or the third or the fifth or whatever, and it'll sound cool because you're going somewhere. Sometimes you can play the wrong note, but if you, depending on how you look at it, what note are you trying to enclose, and then it'll make sense. So that's one of the things that's really cool to work on when you get the initial basics down. When you know how to play your linear scales through the different modes of the chords, and then you know how to play all your arpeggios through the different modes of the chords, and the enclosures. And then chromaticism is just leading to a certain point, a certain point in the chord, or position in the chord. So let me all right, let's look at this. I was thinking about so so let's try this. Oh, let me put, because I jumped on y'all. I skipped some steps, and I started playing. Let me put the bass line on. Here we go. Now, well, let me not get ahead of myself. Let me come back. So I'm gonna improvise now. But what I'm gonna do on the EWI is think linear. Okay. All right. So now I'm playing eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And for the most part, I was doing a combination of chromaticism here and there, but I was also playing linearly because everything was just stepwise. Okay. So now this is practice. What you want to do is get a tune or get all the things you are, slow it down so you have time enough to process it. This is all the things you are, so I can do it. I've done it. I played this tune thousands of times. But, if you want a challenge, then put it in a different key. So I'm not going to pick a key. I want you all to pick a key. Pick a key. What key you want me to transpose it in, and then I'll work on it in that key. So I'm looking over here. What key you want me to do? I'm looking at some of the responses. When you do the chromatic, somebody asked a question, when you do the chromatic, do you land on the root on the next chord? It just depends. You can, or you can land on the third, fifth, seventh. It just depends, because it's all about you hearing or creating melody even when you walk bass line. And you can be on a different scale degree. It's okay. Can you explain enclosures again? So enclosures is basically you're approaching, yeah, somebody answered it, approach notes from above and below, or vice versa. That's right. So if F is my note, then I would go below it and above it and then land on it. And you can do 2-note enclosures, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can say, or I can say, that's enclosure on F. I can do, or that's a 3-note enclosure. See, 1, 2, 3, and then I land on a note. I can do 4-note enclosure. All right. All right. Right there. That's what I call a zigzag enclosure. And so these are just launching points or ways that you can actually, outline a change. You can throw an enclosure first, put an enclosure first, and then play a linear line. So you can say, or, so we're attaching enclosure to linear. So let me go down here. Let's see. Okay. Oh, now I get it. Could you give an example on the chord on Green Dolphin Street, key concert C minor? I'm stuck on the C section. Okay. Brazil. We got some Brazil. What's going on? Toodle bang. All right, somebody say D flat on the chord. So let me I have to switch songs on Green Dolphin Street. Let me stick with all the things you are. And somebody threw out there D flat. So let's see if I can outline everything in D flat. So right now it's in E flat. I'm sorry, it's in A flat. So let's see. Let's change the key to D flat. Okay. Okay, so it's the first chord is B flat minor on this one. Okay, let's see. So same thing, I got to relearn it. Let me get that bridge. 2-5-1 is C. B minor, 2-5 and A. Then F7. Okay, 2-5-1 A. That ain't right. A major. All right. All right. So, all right, cool. I don't think I've ever played this in B flat minor. The cool thing about this, the second 8 bars is just like the original. It's just F minor to uh, B flat minor to E flat. So the only parts that are a little funny for me is the bridge, and basically you can hear chords that are moving by fourths. All right, so let me approach it the same way. I always want to learn the bass line first. So I'm gonna mute the bass and I'm gonna outline the changes with bass. And I'm gonna just do linear. Okay, cool. So I walk the bass line, just playing through it so I get it under my fingers. I'm learning on the spot, right? And I got my eyes closed. I don't know if you noticed, so I wasn't looking at the changes. I'm using my ear. It's right here for me to look at, but um, I like to use my ear anyway. So here we go. I put on the bass line. Now we're gonna solo, and what I'm gonna do is use linear. So I did some linear stuff, and I put in an enclosure tied to some chromaticism. So and what you want to do too, what'll happen, like I'm playing eighth notes, but sometimes if you're not gonna land or you feel like you're not gonna land in the right place, you can put different rhythm in there. I can put some pauses in there, so it's all about what's under your fingers because you're trying to play melodies within milliseconds, right? So you hear stuff and sometimes it won't translate as quick to your fingers. And so what you have to do is put a little space in there and just get it on the next one or let it go and just create melody for the next chord. So you're juggling all these different things when you improvise. So it's just really good, first and foremost, for you to know um, the changes by heart and then know what it feels like to play off of the different degrees as well. But before I get into the different degrees, I'm gonna just outline the changes linearly, and I'm gonna try to use eighth notes for the most part. But I'm just letting you know you'll hear a linear and some enclosures, and I'm gonna hold off before I do some arpeggios. But just linear and enclosures, chromaticism too. Okay, now what's happening now? I'm messing up. I'm skating around because I'm not used to playing in this key, so I'm fishing around for the right notes. But at the same time, it might sound cool. It might sound cool because um, I'm hearing it. So what I mean by that, I'm using my ear and I'm like, okay, I'm fishing around. I'm thinking about what's the right notes, and I'm trying to commit to continuous eighth notes and linear lines. Okay. So, but just with that said, I give you that, and now I'm going to add more arpeggios. I'm going to play everything, right? All right. So I'm going to try to apply everything. So, linear lines, enclosures, arpeggios, and chromaticism. So, here we go. And this is in D flat. All the things you are in D flat. Okay. So now I was specifically trying to think about arpeggios. Um, of course, I play some different things in different spots, but for the most part, I'm applying these four different approaches. Okay. So I'm just going over here looking at some of the comments here. So I think the last one I left off was somebody put the D flat. So let me see, where is that? Um, Okay, C section. Okay, D flat. Okay, would okay. Wow, you are an amazing player. Okay, appreciate it. Appreciate you, Danielle. I'm messing with you, bro. Basis revenge. Do it in F. Okay, dang. Okay, I'll try. I'll do it in F. Thank God us basses don't have different fingerings as much. Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, basically what you play on bass is basically the same thing. You just change to a different fret. So, yeah, I tried to play bass a little bit. I need to get back to it. But he says we have a different curse. We have rootism. Right. Rootism. Can you help with getting away from being so root based with ideas? Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh man, okay, let me give you some ideas. I mean, because I'm an I guess melodic instrument, I'm thinking on the extensions anyway. I'm thinking from third, fifth, seventh, and ninth and stuff like that. So it's really easy from that standpoint, from my position, because I can play a bass line, and not stay connected to the roots, just because I'm an improviser, so I'm used to playing more elaborate stuff and not hitting the roots anyway, because it don't sound good for us to land on the roots with our, unless we're going to resolve it some type of way um, on the ones. But check it out. I'm a play. Okay, so this is um, all the things you are in D flat. He said F, so let me put it in F. I'm gonna put it in F. So I'm gonna switch it up on myself. Okay. Test 1, 2. Okay, I'm just trying to get the changes down. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm cool. So we're in the key of F for all the things you are. I'm gonna switch, take the bass off, mute the bass, and then I'm gonna play some bass lines. I'm gonna try in this key, and then I'm gonna create some melodies where I'm not dealing with the roots, but I gotta figure it out in this key though. All right, I did it. I finally was able to get in there, and so I could hear it. So yeah, that's the cool thing. It's like I'm improvising, just using quarter notes, pretty much, and that's what you would do to come up with lines. But it's one of those things. Just the way I'm wired as a saxophonist, I hear, a lot of melodic ideas anyway. So um but at the same time, as a bass player, you can only got 4 notes that you play. So sometimes you can't fit a whole phrase in 4 bars, and maybe you can group things to where with the song, for instance, when you got something like All the Things You Are, that first, let me turn this down some. So that first chord um, is actually I mean, these are just different modes, right? So if we go back, oh, we in the key of G. So if I go D for, So all those are related. 2 5 1 4, all that's related. So 1 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4, 4 2 3 4. So that's 4 bars. But instead of thinking about 4 individual chords, I can just say I'm in the key of F. So that's something you can get away with too. So you don't have to break everything down, every chord down to where you're just thinking about every chord specifically, because that can be overkill when you're improvising. I'm saying this when you're improvising. When you're a bass player, you kind of have to. But if you're improvising on top, you want to think about groupings and like overall um, sounds, or I guess colors, or be within the ballpark so that you can create a story or create something that is digestible, easier digestible. It's kind of like if you think about how John Coltrane, when he came out with Giant Steps, he was outlining every change. Okay, let's see. Well, I hadn't done that in so long. I can't even remember. Huh. Oh, man, I can't even think of the thing. Anyway, he outlined every change. It was more so like a exercise, but I wouldn't approach it like that. I would you know, I would approach it different. But at the time when John Coltrane came out with it, he was ba-ba-do-ba-da, ba-da-ba-dum, ba-ba-do-ba-da-ba-dum, da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, which is killing. But that's more so vertical. When I say vertical, it's more so up and down the arpeggios, or up and down the going throughout the changes. Whereas you can go across and be more lyrical. I suggest watching this Barry Harris video when he was going over how to play giant steps. So put in Barry Harris giant steps, and you'll find a great video where he was talking about how he approaches playing through something like giant steps. That's really hip. I like that. I actually want to transcribe his solo. So to get back to this, all the things you are, let's see how we are on time. Okay, 7:49. So yeah, getting back to the all the things you are in F. Now I'm gonna play, I'm gonna put the bass line on, uh, and then play over it. And now I'm gonna use, some of the 4 options. Remember, linear, arpeggios, what else? We're gonna do enclosures and also chromaticism. Now I'm just playing now. Okay, so I'm thinking about linear, I'm thinking about arpeggios and stuff like that, really just trying to outline the song in this particular key. So now I'm going to solo. I'm going to free myself up and just play how I would if I'm on a gig, just for kicks, okay? So let's go back. I lost it. I was trying to play the melody, but I think I was on a different degree. But so there you have it. Those are the 4 different approaches that you can use in improvisation. All right. So thank y'all so much. It was a fun session. Once again, if you would like to get the replay of it, I'm going to have it available for the Academy members. If you want to be a part of the Texas Tenor Music Academy, just go to Texas Tenor Music Academy and sign up, and you'll get access to a lot of the stuff I've done previously for my members. I do the masterclass on Monday nights, and some people were asking about the private lessons, and yeah, I do the private lessons. You get a discount when you become a member of the Texas Tenor Music Academy.com. There we go. And just hit me up. Once you join, you'll have access to the website, and you can also I'll put you into invite you to get into the private Facebook group, where there you can post questions, post what you're shedding on, and also you can see some of the previous ones that we've done, the webinars where I've gone over different things like enclosures and seventh chords, the bebop scales, and all of that. Actually, all of that is in the actual membership once you become a member. But I do, like I say, do the live ones on Mondays. This particular time, I decided to go live publicly. It's just to spread the word about what I'm what's available, what I'm doing, what I'm offering. Okay. So so that's it for now, for the most part. Um yeah, and I got some other things I'm gonna announce that I'm doing. This is like a commercial segue. I have an investing musician. I'm actually working on some video training for that, for those that are interested on creating multiple streams of income with your music and outside of your music. So I've got some training on how to do that, things that I've done from creating different assets within music, and also creating outside, creating musical creating assets outside of music, so that really you can get to the point of financial independence and make it to where you're not locked down to have to take gigs, in order to make money. So check out that channel, The Investing Musician, on YouTube. I'm just getting started with putting content up there, and I have an email opt-in for it. If you're interested, just hit me up, send me a personal message, let me know you're interested in that, and then I'll because I think I need to still finish some things up on the opt-in page. So I think investingmusician.com is available, but I might could share that, but I'm still working on it. So it's under construction. So if you want that information, just hit me up. If not, it's cool. But for all of the music training right now, you can go to Texas Tenor Music Academy .com. All right, so that's it for now. And I'll if you got any other questions, you can shoot me some questions before I head on out. Let me know. No problem. You're definitely welcome. Appreciate you for taking the time to check out the stream. Yeah, you have to stretch ideas to weave through whole progressions. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Somebody says, would you advise beginning intermediate players to invest in an EWE? Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's all learning. So I would definitely recommend it. But if you get one, get the 4,000. Start off with the 4,000. Don't get that EWE, what you call it, USB. Don't do that. Okay, let's look. I'm just going back. What's your mouthpiece? Let me go back and answer some of these questions because I missed some things. Can you help with getting away from being okay? We did that. Yes. See, we're trained bass players to stay from those notes somewhat and leave them for the soloists. Yeah, that's true. We'd have different roles. Bass players have different roles um, from the instrumentalist. Yeah. What's your mouthpiece setup and ligature on tenor sax? So uh, my mouthpiece on my tenor is a vintage Auto Link hard rubber, and I thought I had my ligature up here. Well, one. I got a ligature. Oh no. Oh, here it is. For the ligature, I used the Super Stack Saxotone, Super Stack ligature, and this is actually one that a guy made that's from here, but I hadn't been able to get in touch with him to make any more. So these are kind of discontinued at the moment, but I've been playing on those for years. Um, about seven years now. Let's see, but that's my setup on tenor. Yeah, that's an EWE. We through whole progressions. Nice. Thanks, man. So I guess that's it. Guess that's all. I saw something else come in. Let's see. How do I avoid sounding so plastic in my improv? So I would say you just need to transcribe. You need to transcribe. I mean, that's how I do. I sounded plastic at one point. So it's a lot of different elements, a lot of components that go into it. So the first thing to do is learn some singers lines, melodies. I grew up in church, so I was always around the singing and the soulful sound, and so that got in my ear. Also, when you learn transcriptions, the instrumentalists, their aim is to sound like a vocalist a lot of times, and then vocalist aim is to sound like an instrumentalist. So it just depends. You just pick someone who you like their phrasing, you like the way they do things, and you just learn their stuff, and then that'll rub off on you little by little, and you won't sound as plastic. But that's how you do it initially, just transcribe. The folk who don't sound plastic. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Uh I sound so dull and linear and slow. Um yeah, I mean, like I said, the same thing, just transcribe. Transcribe. The more you transcribe, the more you'll be able to stretch yourself out, because it's really a muscle. I mean, it's a mind, it's a mental thing. It's physical, but it's also mental. So it's like you have to stretch your brain and wrap yourself around other people's approaches. And that's what I did when I learned Jacob Collier's, solo on Fascinating Rhythm. I put it up on Instagram, and it's on Facebook and stuff, but I haven't done something on YouTube, breakdown of it. But just from me learning his solo, I put myself into his thoughts or into his approach. And then even when I was playing that, I was like, wow, it stretched me. So the more you do stuff like that, it a percentage of what you learn will rub off on you. It's like reading books. You know, our exposure or what we are aware of is only based on what we've been through and what we've learned up until this point. You know how it is. If we stay in our own head, then we'll be limited. But when we put ourselves in other people's shoes, where we're reading different material and learning different things, transcribing different things, we're getting outside of ourselves, and we're not limiting ourselves to our own thoughts and our own approaches, where you're taking a little bit from somebody else's approach, or you're putting yourself, getting a chance to go in somebody else's world. And when you do that, when you come back to your own the way you would approach something, it's going to be different, because you're now affected by what you was exposed to or what you've learned. So that's the thing. The brain is always changing. When you keep practicing or you keep reading and studying, your brain is taking new shape. They call that neuroplasticity. So you're definitely growing and stretching your brain, your muscle. And so that's why it's good to transcribe. I have to do it because I'll get kind of stuck in the same routine. And so when I practice playing stuff in different keys, I can play all the things you are all day in A flat, but when I switched it to D flat and when I switched it to F, then I had to think. I had to really think about where I was, and then my lines that I play, I have to connect them a little different because it's in a different key. I'm hearing the chord changes because I've played over this particular pattern before in other keys. So my ear is locked into, okay, what it should sound like, but my fingers would be like, well, wait a minute. So if you challenge yourself and the stuff that you already know how to play, the songs that you already know, put them in different keys and try to play the same stuff, or play what you're hearing in over the song in a different key. So that should be helpful. Okay. Let's see here. Should I finish this sax? Let's see. Should I finish this sax book, or should I get a teacher? You should get a teacher. Get a teacher, definitely. Okay. You did awesome, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. Rowdy. What are the steps for transcribing? Hear it. Okay, listen to it, sing it first, pick out the rhythm first, sing it. If it's if no matter what it is, listen to it, get the rhythm down, try to sing the rhythm first without the pitches, so that you can have that locked down. I know it's this particular rhythm, so it's bo deep bo do ba do ba doc dee dot boo dee ba-da-ba-doo, ba-da-ba-doo dot, without the actual pitches, and then go in the second time and learn the pitches. Boo dee ba-doo-ba-doo, lead out, whatever that is, and then try to sing it. Because if you can sing it, then you can find it on your instrument. Once you find it on your instrument, then you just, work it out, whatever the notes are, and you have to play it, stop it, play it, and stop it, whatever you need to do. Slow it down if you need to, if it's too fast, and just get it. And once you got that, the actual notes, then later you can go, after that, you can go and look at what the harmony is. What is the chord that goes underneath the line that you learn? Okay. And that way you can remember it. So when we learn stuff, our brain is engaging three different things. I say physical touch, your ear, you're hearing it, and then you're seeing it. Even if you're not looking at sheet music, or if you're looking at the piano, or even if when we're playing saxophone, we actually not looking at our fingers, but we do visualize something abstract in our imagination. So we have three different connections to the stuff that we learn. So with that said, we'll remember things by patterns. We'll remember things by the way they sound. We'll remember things by the way it looks. And so the more that you transcribe, and you go through these processes, like I said, you're creating new grooves in your brain. You're creating new connections in your brain. And so the next time you come around over a chord, like if it's a simple F minor chord and you learn something from Oscar Peterson, or you learn something from something you heard me do, or if you learn something that you heard Sonny Stitt do, or whoever, their approach is different. Everybody's approach is different. Even the nature of the instrument, if it's piano, if it's bass, or if it's sax, it's trumpet. It's just certain things that are easier to do on certain instruments just because the way it lies in the fingers. So when you put yourself in the shoes of a piano player, if you're a saxophone player, or if put yourself in the shoes of a bass player when they play things, because the way the frets are, they can play certain things easier, and we can play certain things easier based on how our keys are. So, but anyway, when you start transcribing different instruments, it'll open you up. It'll open your mindset up, your approach, your perspective up. And like I said, start with the rhythm, start with the get the notes, just be able to sing it first, get the rhythm first, get the sing it first, and then second, and then third, you can pick out the notes on your instrument, and then pick out the chords last. So once again, figure out the rhythm, sing the notes, learn it on the instrument. Fourth is learn the chords that go underneath. So that's it. Y'all got a good lesson. Okay. Uh okay, let's see. Okay, so people still got some transcribing. All right. Somebody says, how do I practice projecting my sound? Long tones. Ball, just long tones. Hold them, get a good full sound. Keep practicing the low end of the horn. Practice the low end of the horn, and that'll help you. And yeah, that'll get you. Another thing, make sure you got the right mouthpiece. Sometimes a bigger tip opening would cause for a lower reed strength. So you can play around with that too. All right, so that's it for now. We will see you later. Okay, and you are welcome.